My name is Sathya. I'm the co-founder and academic head at iQue Ideas Private Limited. CLAT 2024 was conducted on the 3rd of December 2023 across various centers in India for admission to the 5-year integrated law program at the national law universities. Based on feedback from the students and my own perusal of the question paper, here is my analysis of the same. For the first time, the CLAT was conducted as a 120 marks, 120 questions examination in the same 2 hours. There are 20 sets of questions with 4 sets in English, 5 in general knowledge, 5 in legal reasoning, 4 for logical reasoning, and 2 for mathematics or what they describe as quantitative techniques. Overall, the English and GK sections were pretty simple. The legal reasoning was rated being easy to medium. The logical reasoning perhaps was the only challenge with the level of difficulty being rated as medium, and the quantitative techniques or the maths portion was pretty easy. In the English set, we had a passage on contemporary literature based on the characters and settings, where the entire passage was pretty straightforward and all the questions could be answered directly from the passage. The passage based on crisis of justice had a mediocre level of difficulty, with a couple of the questions which may have required extra thought, but attempting 3 to 4 questions from this set was pretty easy. The Fire on the Mountain passage, which was a descriptive one, was easy to read and understand, and 5 to 6 questions could easily be answered directly from the passage. The passage of English literature was an easy to medium level one, where if a student had a good grasp of vocabulary, they could easily understand the passage. The questions were easy and direct from the passage, and even a quick reading of the passage would be easy to pick the right answers. In fact, if the students had read the questions first instead of the passage, then they would have been able to understand that you could just scan the passage, look for keywords, and answer the questions. The general knowledge was a pretty good set. The first one, based on gender diet, was easy and simple, and most of the questions were direct, with only one question regarding the full name of the general, which would have required external knowledge. The passage based on Israel and Palestine conflict contained a lot of numbers which could have been conveniently ignored. The questions were pretty straightforward and mostly from the passage. The Chandrayaan one was easy to understand and again straightforward. Other than the question about the countries which have touched the moon before India, it was easy to answer them directly. Even the question regarding the countries before India, one could easily have answered it by using the process of elimination and smart deduction. The G20 passage. Now, while the passage contained a lot of data, the questions could easily have been answered by students who closely followed the G20 news during their preparation and without referring a lot to the given passage could have answered most of it. The Dr. Ambedkar's address related passage was more of English reading comprehension than of general knowledge, and once you've read the passage, you could have taken on most of them. Legal reasoning, an interesting set. The Juvenile Justice Act based passage did not require any prior legal knowledge with pretty straightforward questions. So was the one on defamation. The PRP bill related question was moderately difficult, where the students may have had to refer to the passage multiple times while answering the individual questions. This was one of those few passages that could not have been easily solved by a few students. Again, the DPDPA based passage was not direct. It required understanding the passage and also the questions which were asked, right? And the options all would have to be carefully analyzed. All in all, a time consuming one. Regarding the inheritance of property passage, it was of moderate difficulty, where again the student might have required to refer to the passage frequently to answer the individual questions. Again, a time consuming one. Coming to logical reasoning, the one which was pretty interesting. The passage of words remain an enigma could have been understood by students who had a good command over vocabulary and have the habit of reading passages which are out of literature and descriptive in nature. Questions were of mediocre level and could be reasonably solved. Passage based on artificial intelligence was of easy to medium level of difficulty, and understanding the passage thoroughly and getting the meaning would be useful to solve it. Again, a set which would have taken some time. The passage on production efficiency was easy to understand, but the questions were not straightforward. In fact, some of them seemed subjective, and the answers which have been suggested may be challenged by the students. The passage on quota suicide, a sad passage but straightforward, easy to read and understand, and the questions had a medium level of difficulty which could have been easily got by quickly referring to the passage again. Both the quantitative techniques or mathematics based passages, the one on automobiles and the one on working population, were simply combination of percentages and ratios. The easiest way to solve it would have been to first understand the data and represent it in a tabular form. Once all that was done, the questions simply required you to calculate, and the options were not so confusing that you would have been thrown off. So, all in all, an easy paper where, because of the easy level of the paper, a lot of students would get even 3-digit scores, and I expect pretty high cutoffs for each of the individual NLUs, especially the top 5. Keeping that in mind, let's wait for the official numbers to come out. Till then, wish you all the best.